Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishchiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Nara Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service and to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So today's verse, we are on Canto 3, chapter 23 and verse 55. If possible to repeat. Sango yas samsmriter hetur asatsu vihito dhiyam sayeva sadhushu krito nissangatvaya kalpate. Anyone would like to recite? I want to recite the verse. Sango yas samsmriter hetur asatsu visito diya sayeva sadhusu krito nissangatvaya kalpate. Sango yas samsmriter hetu satsu vihito diya sayeva sadhushu krito nissangatvaya kalpate. Sango yas samsmriter hetu asutsu vihito dhiya sayeva sadhushu krito nissangatvaya kalpate. Thank you so much. We can recite the synonyms. Sangha, association. Yah, which. Samsrite, of the cycle of birth and death. Hetu, the cause. Asatsu, with those engaged in sense gratification. Vihita, done. Adhiya, through ignorance. Sah, the same thing, sorry. Eva, certainly. Sadhushu, with saintly persons. Krita, performed. Nissangatvaya, to liberation. Kalpate, leads. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage, but the same type of association performed with a saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge. So, purport. The association of a saintly person in any ways bears the same result. For example, Lord Krishna met many kinds of living entities, and some treated him as an enemy, and some treated him as an agent for sense gratification. It is generally said that the gopis were attached to Krishna for sense attractions, and yet they became first-class devotees of the Lord. Kamsa, Shishupal, Dantavakra, and other demons, however, were related to Krishna as enemies. But whether they associated with Krishna as enemies or for sense gratification, out of fear or as pure devotees, they all got liberation. That is the result of association with the Lord. Even if one does not understand who he is, the results have the same efficacy. Association with a great saintly person also results in liberation. Just as whether one goes toward fire knowingly or unknowingly, the fire will make one warm. Devahuti expressed her gratefulness for although she wanted to associate with Kardama Muni only for sense gratification. Because he was spiritually great, she was sure to be liberated by his benediction. Before we discuss, we can take blessings from all our predecessor acharyas, so we can hear and speak what is in align with the Guru Parampara. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunvilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dhinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Pashyatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Hare Krishna. You all can hear me, I guess, clearer. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So we are on this verse. This chapter is entitled Devahuti's Lamentation. But overall, we are coming to that part actually where she's actually lamenting in a sense. She's expressing what she's actually looking for from Kardama Muni. So translation one more time. Association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage, but the same type of association performed with a saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge. I guess all of us assembled here have many realizations of association and how association has given us the real benefit of our life. So I guess everybody can actually be a speaker here. I want to thank the temple authorities for giving me an opportunity to reflect, and thank all the devotees in my life and all the assembled Vaishnavas who have given me the opportunity to continue the path of bhakti. So reflecting on this verse, this is what came to my attention, that she is talking about power of devotee association, satsanga. So it's generally said we are all social beings. So sangha, we are always in association. We are not lonely. When we are lonely, then we are diagnosed as if having a disease. So we always like to be in sangha, in association of like-minded people. So, but when that sangha becomes satsanga, in the association of spiritual people, how uplifting it is. And what is the benefits of the power of association of devotees. So we are so used to hearing this, birds of a feather flock together. So that itself says, like, I heard that when we see this all these geese flying up there. We don't see one geese, one hawk, one eagle, one cuckoo, one sparrow going together. We don't see that in the sky, but we see the same birds of same feather flock together. So there is a lot that we can learn. And yesterday, as we were hearing from His Grace Shyam Kishore Prabhu, he was saying that there is so much we can learn just by seeing and observing around. More than just the reading, like observation of devotees, how they conduct themselves. And there's so much we can learn in our devotional service. So let's see the power of devotee association. And in this regard, Rupa Goswami has given like 64 qualities of devotional service in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, he discusses this as the top 5 limbs. Out of the 64, he categorizes 5 very important ones. And the first one he says is Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan Mathura Vasa Shri Murtya Shraddhaya Sevan. So out of the 5, first is Sadhu Sangha. So out of ABCD, the first one is A, the association. So association of devotees. So that's how important it is. Like it was not randomly put, but that's what gives everything else provides. So Sadhu Sangha is on the top list. So following in that footsteps, let's discuss further on what is this association of devotees. So as the birds fly, what do devotees do in satsang? When we all come together, what do we do? Majjita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayanchascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So this is what we do when we are in satsang. We come together to glorify the Lord, to glorify his devotees, and we take great pleasure in doing this. So just a few days back, we had our Vaishnavi Sangha. So I was just sharing in that, like how we are all here. There are so many New Year parties, New Year Eve's parties, before parties, after parties, that there are so many Sanghas that happen in our workplace and other places in our communities. But here as Vaishnavis, when we came together, the sole purpose was for us to reflect on our devotional service and how we can improve in our bhakti life. So all of us came together where we got a verse of our liking and we shared it and the realizations that we had from the verse. And it was so uplifting. We also had fun. It was not that there was no fun. We all were really happy in Sangha of each other, discussing and relishing about the Lord's glories. So what do devotees do? We got to know that we are always thinking and speaking about the Lord, and we are enlightening each other and conversing about him, and we are happily performing it. And then let's see what else we have in this discussion and what happens in satsanga. So what happens? Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Khai, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hai. And lava is translated in the purport by Srila Prabhupada as 1/11th of a second. That short is lava matra sadhu sangha and gives sarva siddhi, all perfection. What is that perfection that we all are looking for? That bhakti, Krishna bhakti that we all are looking for. It provides that. It says then we come together, we discuss about the glories of the Lord, and the result, what happens is we are getting the bhakti, Krishna prema in that association. And let's see, how do we get that and what actually happens in that process. So it feels very nice, right? Just 1/11th, such short. We all like crisp and short, real quick effects. So that is sadhu sangha. That's what it does. Like, and we can discuss further as we are moving forward on this. So the first effect of association with devotees. These are nice points that I heard from His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhuji. He was sharing how actually this satsanga, what does it do to our heart? So it brings permanent transformation of the heart. So in this regard, Srila Prabhupada tells a story. He says that there was once a thief. He thing was to rob, right? But he saw a group of people who were so engrossed, and they were going on a pilgrimage. And they were going on a pilgrimage, but they all had also good bags with them. So he just sneaked in their sangha, and he just went along with them because he could hide in that crowd. And as they were singing and dancing, and this group of pilgrims were going towards their pilgrimage, they rested in a place. And in that place, the thief thought, they danced and sang really nice, good time. Now they are all very tired, and they all went to sleep, deep sleep. They were tired, so they were resting. And their bags all were just lying around. But the thief is so used to being awake in night. So his profession really helped him in that way, that he was fully awake. And his job was to rob. That's what he came into that satsang. So he tried to go steal the bags. As he was doing it, something from his heart was saying, no. These are such good people. It was so nice and joyous being with them. I danced and sang with them. How can I rob them? One part of his heart was saying. Another was like, then he put it back. Again, he was like, no, but the motive of me coming, Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopi Janavalla Bhagavan ki Jai, Nitai Patita Pavan Gaur Hari ki Jai. So my motive of my coming into this sangha was to rob. That was my first intention. So let me do that first. So he again went to take the bags, take the bags of the pilgrims. But his other part was like, no, this is not right. And he was putting it back, taking it, putting it back, taking it. He was himself so confused what he was doing. And the night just passed, and it almost came to the early morning hours. And he finally just let it go. Like he was battling between his own emotions of whether to steal or not to steal. Because why this happened, there was the transformation of the heart that was happening in him due to the association of these devotees, of singing and dancing with them. So in the morning, when the devotees all woke up, they were trying to go for a bath, and they were trying to find their bags, and they couldn't find the bags. So everything was here, there, here, and they're like, who took my bag? Who took my bag? And this thief actually he raised his hand, and he said, please, it was me. I'm a thief. I came for robbing, but because of all your satsang, my heart actually transformed that I could not rob. But due to my propensity to rob, I went to look for all the bags. So I just moved from one place to another. So it's all here. Only if you search, you will get your bags. So his heart actually transformed. So Srila Prabhupada shares this story to say how satsang actually transforms our heart from within. There's a permanent transformation. That's what the whole point is. So most of us here, being grihastha in my own part, I could see that in our house when we practice, when we go with our little kids to shopping, and we would read the list, what ingredients are there in that list. And then we could see our little ones also. They will now go once they start their reading skills kick in, they actually start reading the ingredients. Nobody told them to do it, but they've been observing their parents do it. Whether it has eggs, whether it has this, whether this is not there, onion, garlic is not there. So they just spontaneously, I've seen so many of our devotee kids actually just spontaneously they do. And when some devotees actually, little kids came home, Mataji, did you offer this prasad? They would ask such sweet questions out of innocence, like, did you offer it? Then I would be like, yes, Prabhuji and Mataji, I did offer. You can accept it, you're safe. So that consciousness of accepting, there's a permanent transformation of the heart happening because of the sangha that each of us are in. So that is the first effect of satsanga. And we can see even knowingly, unknowingly, this verse actually highlights on even unknowingly. So we could see that story of Angulimal and Buddha, when he came in touch with Buddha, how he was totally transformed from being a dacoit. And then we have story of Haridas Thakur and the prostitute, where for the intention which she came and approached Haridas Thakur was to defame him, but just be sitting around him and him chanting that intensely, her heart transformed. She shaved her head and she became a disciple and a devotee there. So he did not sit and even preach. He was just doing his rounds. So in that way, we could see Jagai and Madai, when they came in touch with Lord Nityananda Prabhu, how their lives were transformed and how they got Krishna Bhakti. So many stories, how we have Dhruva Maharaj, who was touched by Narad Muni, and his approach was actually to get a bigger kingdom than his grandfather. But due to the association of Narad Muni, he had the darshan of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So our Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with all stories where all these miracles have happened, one after the other, of knowingly and unknowingly. Like we could see our Nalakuvara and Manikriva, they were actually so intoxicated that they did not even recognize Narad Muni. And apparently the curse that Narad Muni gave, that you wanted to be naked and you can be as that for the rest of your lives as trees. But where? In the Nanda Bhavan. What an amazing curse of being as trees in the Nanda Bhavan, where they were personally liberated by the Lord. So in this connection also, I see that why do we say satsang? Because in that association, the devotee's sole goal is Krishna Prema. And they also want that good for everyone around us. It's not that they alone want to go back to Godhead. So it's always together they want to do it. And in that context, this month is called Margali in Tamil, like Margashisha. And Andal, she is also an incarnation of Nagna Chitta, the ninth wife of Krishna. So she sings a lot of Pashurams, and this 30, every day she has a song that she sings in the mood of a gopi of Vrindavan. So she is waking up every gopi. She goes to everyone's house, the gopi's house, and she wakes each gopi up and she says, come, let's go. Why are you still sleeping? It's time. Krishna would be up. So we have to go and quickly meet him. Like she could have just gone alone herself to meet the Lord. She's up. She's eager. She could have just done that act, but she doesn't do that way. She wakes up every gopi, goes to each house and wakes that gopi and takes her along. Says, come, let's go together. Only then Krishna will be happy when he sees us all together. So each Pashuram has a very in-depth meaning that the Acharyas discuss in that connection. So devotional service together is what is pleasing to the Lord also. And in that satsang, we also see that we forgive each other, because we have been said again and again, humility is the key to go back to God. So humility means that we don't put ourselves in the center. So even if somebody offends in a sense, we also learn to forgive and forget to move forward, because our goal is fixed here. So only when we have our goal as pleasing the Lord and to follow his directions to go back to Godhead, if that is very clear by reading scriptures and seeing the great sadhus and listening from them, then our action also follows like that. So we have a safe net, in a sense where if we commit mistakes, we are eager to ask for forgiveness. And if somebody else kind of steps in our way, we are willing to forgive that devotee for a higher cause. So in this connection, Srila Prabhupada gives an example also. So before that, okay, there is another story that I have got here to say the mercy of a devotee. So I heard this story from His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj during our South India Yatra. So Ramanujacharya had two elder sisters. So the first sister, the oldest sister, had a son. They didn't have a kid for a long time. So they went to Tirumala to take blessings from the Lord, to pray to the Lord, to beget a kid. So on their way itself, they had a dream where Lord Ramachandramurti came to their dream and said that, you don't have to finish the full yatra, please go home. I will be happy as my Amsha, a son will be born to you, and please name him Dasharati as his name. So Lord Ram's Amsha himself was born to the eldest sister of Ramanujacharya, and his name was named as, the Lord himself said, please keep my name Dasharati. So he actually is, he becomes the first and the senior most disciple of Ramanujacharya when Ramanujacharya took sannyas. So he's very close to him. In many pastimes, Dasharati and Kuresh are the two prominent disciples of Ramanujacharya. So he says that how can a sannyasi be without danda, his tridanda? And Kamandalu, is that what's the other one? I'm not sure. So he calls Dasharathi as the Tridhanda. So he never goes anywhere without him. That's how close Dasharathi was to Ramanujacharya. And he was such a humble servant of Ramanujacharya. Once when Ramanujacharya traveled to Melkote, on the way there was a village where the people of that place were kind of atheistic. So Ramanujacharya was thinking, how do I help these people? His whole sole goal is to help the mass of people. So he was praying in his heart and he was thinking like that. And then he said, Dasharathi, just go to the pond. There is a pond from where the villagers take water for their daily use. Just go and wash your feet in that pond. That's all he said. Come back. And Dasharathi just obediently followed what Ramanujacharya said, and he went and he washed his feet and he came back. So what happened? The whole pond became Charanamrita of Dasharathi. So when all the people of that village, when they drank that water, when they consumed that water after Dasharathi washed his feet, their heart transformed. And the next day, everybody you could see there in that picture, everybody surrendered to Ramanujacharya and took initiation. No preaching was needed. That was the power of Sadhu Sangha. So his Dasharathi's another name is also Mudalayanda. That is, he's the first disciple of Ramanujacharya. When he just washed his feet in the Thondanur, the whole village surrendered. So power of devotees, Charanamrit. That is very sweet. So in this connection also in first canto, 15th chapter, 8th verse, in when Arjuna and Krishna, Arjuna was trying to help Agnidev consume Kandava Prastha, the forest. So there is, I'm not going into the whole story, but there was this demon called Maya Dhanava. He was a friend of Takshaka. So he was in that forest, Kandava Prastha. So Agni from one side, he was devouring the forest. Another side, Krishna with his chakra was raising in from the other direction. And in between, you can imagine Maya Dhanava is there, like he's trying to save himself. He's running. So as he ran, he saw that one side Agni is chasing, another side Krishna is ready with his Sudarshana fighting there. But he saw who was next to Krishna was Arjuna. So he fell at the feet of Arjuna and he surrendered. And he said, please save me. So Mahadhanava took shelter of actually Arjuna. When he took shelter of Arjuna, Arjuna said, I will save you, but here is the Supreme Lord who can actually save you. And he points to the Lord to take shelter. And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada writes very beautifully. The process is that by the grace of the devotee, the mercy of the Lord is obtained. And by the mercy of the Lord, a chance to serve the Lord's devotee is obtained. How sweet. So these are those wonderful pastimes that we can see, the association of devotee, how devotee association gets Krishna, and Krishna's mercy we get devotee's association, it's vice versa. So here is that second part where after the transformation of the heart, purification of false ego happens. And Srila Prabhupada says that when is the false ego that comes in our heart? When we have I, me, and as the center in my life. If everything I want to do is all about me. So Srila Prabhupada gives this very nice effect of ripple effect, where in a pond, if every pebble is thrown in the same center, then how many ever ripples, they're all congruent to each other, like kind of the center is the same. So it's so important that we keep Lord as the center. So that's what happens in Satsanga, that the Supreme Lord, glorifying the Supreme Lord is our center in Satsang. So when that center misses, if again we have another Vaishnavi Sangha where we are talking about how great I am, what all accomplishments I did, I can sing better than you, then what happens? The center point is missing. Then we will not have that loving satsang anymore. It will just become another Sangha where it is self-glorification. That's where the false ego actually sprouts, and all the problems associated with false ego will follow. And third one, it helps in the uncovering and development of one's inner innate good qualities. So in association, both quantity and quality increases. And we have each one of us seen ourselves when we come to the temple and when we chant and dance in Mangalarti, when we do the Tulsi Aarti, the amount of enthusiasm is so high, right? Like we also do that on a regular basis at home. Sometimes we are by our own selves doing it. And when we are chanting in the association of devotees, and when we see that, oh, that person is actually able to sit down and chant, my body and my mind and everything is telling, it's okay, your legs are paining, just get up and walk. And then I see the devotee. And that devotee is actually trying, because we know what the principle is. You want to sit down for minimum that 2 hours and at least try to focus at least on the chanting. And when the mind is just so restless and going back and forth and everywhere, when you see the next devotee really trying hard to focus on the holy name, like, okay, let me also give that try. So both the quantity of our chanting and the quality of our chanting, be it whatever, chanting or singing or dancing, everything increases in the association of devotees. So it's so easily performed. And many times we hear the example that the rush of Bombay trains, the rush hours, you just have to place yourself in the perfect position, in the perfect place, and they'll take you in and they'll get you out. And I have real good experience of this. So anybody, you should give a try going to Bombay to take those local trains. It's that strategic positioning of yourself that gets you into the train and gets you off the train. So it's the association. Like personally, I could share this, that when I started going to the temple, I really did not see the verses of Brahma Samhita. Or I actually did not even see there is a book called Vaishnava book. And that there is a song, Narsingha Pranam. Like it just being with them, we just are so used to singing those. And the lines actually went in. And so many, even our own kids who have no idea how to read and write, they can sing Narsingha Aarti really well. Just that hearing and being in that sangha. Those are real examples in our own life that we have seen. That's we have just got it into it. So many years after, when I got married and went to Singapore, and there was this book marathon and everything happening, and we were actually doing Srimad Bhagavatam distribution and Chaitanya Charitamrita sets distribution. First time I saw so many volumes of books are there of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So many stories I've heard from Maharaj. How is that like, I really did not know that reading and getting in, like, it's the right way to do it. But since with the flow, we were going with the flow, so many of the stories and pastimes were in already before even opening the book. So there was a positive effect of being with devotees, constantly being with devotees. But I'm not saying that don't read. Huh? That's not the point. The important key is to read. But it escalates. The speed is really good, faster when we are in the satsang of devotees. And also when we are doing our Vaishnavi Sangha readings, we feel it's much easier to reflect and also to remember. And the regularity is also there. So I remember our Shyamala Preeti, she asked His Holiness Rampad Maharaj when he came here, that Maharaj, it's so hard to come for Mangalarti. And Maharaj very nicely answered saying that, just text to 5 Matajis that you're coming for Mangalarti. Then you will get up. So association really helps, and we can use those WhatsApp messages in the right way. So yeah, moving forward. So a lot of things we can learn from this V formation of these geese. So what can we learn? It reduces the wind resistance. That's what I was saying, like 71% less energy is needed to actually fly. So only 29% you have to put it. How nice, right? You don't have to exert a lot. So in satsang, the amount of energy, if we have to do it on our own, it's really more. So satsang makes it more easier. And the bird that actually leads, who is facing the wind right in front, also gets tired. So they take turns to go back and the next one comes forward. So I've seen this also, like how our Srila Prabhupada made the GBC council. So it's not just one person who is like blamed for all the decision being taken, or he has to feel the heat and go through all that difficult process, but it is a group of devotees who come together and take that decision. So that helps the leadership when we swap. Even in Radha Gopinath temple, there is a council where the presidents take turns every 3 months to take the decision forming situations. So again, this V formation makes it easier to keep track of every bird in the group. That is also so nice. So that in our satsang, we help each other, so that we also watch out for who is in need of help, who are everybody going forward in the right way. So flying in formation helps each member to communicate and coordinate with the group more effectively. So when we come here, at least regularly when we come, then one day we don't come if we are sick or we are not doing well or we are traveling, or then we are in the thought of the other devotees. What happened? I don't see this devotee today. So that concern helps in follow-up. So when a goose, the best point is the last one. When a goose gets sick or falls behind, 2 other geese break away from the flock and stay with it, either until it dies or is strong enough to rejoin the group. So powerful, so powerful. Amazing. Only with satsang this will happen, right? So this is I need you, you need me, we need each other. We don't know when we go through all those sickness. And so there is this verse where Varahadev speaks to Mother Earth that Site, I'm not sure about the verse, but the meaning of the verse, it says that when your bodily limbs are all okay, when that person actually is able to do the devotional service in the association of the devotees, when he or she is in their end, when their limbs don't work and they are not able to actually perform devotional service, I give them the remembrance by which they can come to me. So even Varahadev promises that. So the best part is when we are well and good and doing good. So even in our Vaishnavi Sangha, we were sharing this point, like many points from Her Grace Nayan Sundari Mataji's passing away. Still, we are still learning a lot of lessons. So one strong lesson for me was, I'm trying to remember by repeating it, is I don't have to wait till that end moment for me to raise my hand and to bow down to the devotees. When my hands are well and my body is well, I can raise up and dance for the holy name of the Lord. I don't have to wait for that last moment in my life to put that effort to raise. The Lord will help me if I do it when I am hale and healthy. So I pray that please remind me that I perform my devotional service when I'm hale and healthy. Hare Krishna. So these are wonderful points that I thought I can share from the life of the formation of this reformation of the geese. So I want to conclude as moving further in this discussion, same Bhagavatam, Canto 3, 25, 25th chapter. When the son is born, when Kapila Dev is born, this is the verse he is now telling his mother. Prasangam majaram pasham atmanah kavayo viduhu sayeva sadhusu krito moksha dwaram apavritam. Every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opens the door of liberation. So this kind of concludes what Mother Devhuti is trying to say. So Kapila Dev also during his instructions movement in the further chapters, he will be sharing this very, very, very powerful verse of this association of devotees. So to end, I have so Srila Prabhupada. Without his mercy, what are we, right? So His Holiness Giriraj Swami, he actually reflects. And on his blogs, he writes this in one of the situations, how Srila Prabhupada behaved and showed by his personal example. So there was an interview that was happening in London. And this interviewer, he was a kind of a little sarcastic person. He would call all the top people and he would call them to his interview. And his main motto was to actually make them look bad in front of everybody. So he was very well known for this. Everybody actually were scared when he invites for his TV show. So devotees know that very well. And he invited Srila Prabhupada. So the devotees went and they said, Prabhupada, no, Prabhupada, please don't go for this. Let's refuse this. We don't want to attend this interview on the TV show. But Prabhupada said, his answer was very straightforward. Srila Prabhupada replied, no, it's our duty. We must go. So he said, no, it's our duty. And he said, we must go. And then Srila Prabhupada went and he sat comfortably in the chair. And then the interviewer, as usual, he begins with some casual questions just to make the person very comfortable. So then that all his scripted questions will come. But he will first make you feel very comfortable as if he's a very nice person and he will welcome you to the show. And he said, and he began with a casual question. He said, he asked Srila Prabhupada, so how do you like it here in London? Very general question. So generally what everybody would say, oh, it's wonderful. I really like it. I am really enjoying myself here. This is very common answer. And this is what the interviewer also expected. But Srila Prabhupada answered, London is hell. So the interviewer was so shocked because this was not part of his script. So now he is shocked. So he doesn't know what to say now further. So he didn't know how to continue. And Prabhupada had actually stumped him. So there was a short period of silence. He had his plan, but this London is hell wasn't part of the script. So there were some moments of uncomfortable silence. Then Prabhupada saved the day. See, but Prabhupada's intention was not to put him down. So his intention was to put Prabhupada down. So that's how he called him in. But Prabhupada wants to save every soul. That is his nature. So what did Prabhupada do? And then he said, then Prabhupada saved the day, he said, but it is a great credit to the British people that they have built such a beautiful city under such hellish conditions, with hellish weather. And from there on, the interviewer was very respectful, and Prabhupada actually got to preach. Srila Prabhupada was so expert. So his dealings are always to uplift the other person. So we could see this in many of the writings, like when we read the books, when Prabhupada calls somebody a rascal, we can read it, but when I try to repeat it, it doesn't sound so good. Because there is no purity in the heart. So it's because of his purity, he's able to use the strong words and still people don't feel hurt and they're still able to read it and their lives are getting transformed because he's truly the ever well-wisher for us. So we are so indebted to Srila Prabhupada for saving us through his books, through his temple, through his devotees, through the prasad and everything. So before I end, I know we are coming to, sorry for going a little over. There was a devotee also, there's a personal, he likes to share this, so I take his permission to share this also. A very nice god brother of ours. This just happened in my own lifetime. I witnessed this. So he was, what do you call that, Bombay gang? In the gang, he was there. And gangster kind of thing where he had to kill somebody. So he actually got a knife to kill and he followed one person. That person actually came to Gopinath temple and he sat in the Bhagavatam class. So he was sitting right behind this person with the knife in the back just to kill him. And he attended the whole Bhagavatam class. After Bhagavatam class, how can he kill? So his heart transformed and he's a very wonderful god brother of ours. And he shares this every time, the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam and association of devotees, how his heart was transformed. And he does not know how to read and write. In a sense, he's not very literate, but he put so much effort in reading and learning English from the devotees. And he is the first one always actually reads the verse after the Bhagavatam speaker. His enthusiasm, his love for Srimad Bhagavatam after his life got transformed is very evident. He loves to share this story and he doesn't feel bad about to say what he was in the past. So just wanted to share that part. And all of us have many stories of transformations that has happened in our own life. One more thing in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a pastime where when Mahaprabhu actually goes from Jagannath Puri to Vrindavan, he's dancing and chanting everywhere. And he actually meets a lot of people, and people see him and they get transformed and they chant and dance. But he saw one brahmachari who was in full ecstasy, who was dancing, crying, and chanting. All the bhakti bhavas were manifesting in his body. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just went close to him and he said, "Did you get to meet this person called Madhavendra Puri by any chance?" And the Brahmana was like, "Yes, yes, I met him when he on his tour to Vrindavan. He actually came to my house. I got to serve him. I served him prasad. He stayed in my house and he chanted and he also gave this mantra to me. And from that time, I don't know what happened. I've gone crazy like this." And Mahaprabhu said, "No doubt, because you came in association with such an exalted personality as Madhavendra Puri, all the symptoms of love of Godhead are manifesting on you." So Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Any comments or sharings anybody has? Thank you, Mataji.
Amazing class, Mataji. Wonderful points. It's very interesting to hear. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. With your blessings, it's happening.
Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful class. Thank you so much.
Welcome back. Hare Krishna, Shri Gauranga. You're back from Tirtha Yatra.
No, not
Mataji
yet.
has
Not
been
yet.
We are
Not
just
yet.
10 hours away, Mataji.
10 hours away. You've been posting all the pictures on our Vaishnavi Sangha for all the places they went to: Atlanta Temple, to Alachua Temple, to Orlando, to D-Land, everywhere. Like she's going on yatra and taking us along.
See you soon, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Dandavat pranam, Hare Krishna. Very sweet and wonderful class.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Very inspiring class. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the devotees whom I'm just sharing, Mataji's. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody wants to share it?
I really like the point when you asked we should put Krishna in the center. Our mind is so flickering that we constantly forget to keep Krishna in the center. We try to think that we come back again to people at the center, but being in association, people repeatedly constantly tell us to keep Krishna back in the center. So that point really reminded me of association that is keeping Krishna in the center.
Thank you, Mataji, for that reflection. Yes, satsang helps us to keep Krishna in the center. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, Prabhuji.
Just trying to understand. We spoke about the Jyotishwar Vaishnava Association. In Mahabharata, you see that there is an association of great devotees, but still there's something with him that he didn't take on any of the qualities of the Vaishnavas. So can you help us understand?
Sure, Prabhuji. The question is, Prabhuji is asking, actually he's asking to test me. But I don't know the answer, Prabhuji. I'll try to repeat what I have heard. Prabhuji is asking how Duryodhana, being in the association of great devotees, still he could not, there was no transformation of heart that happened to him, right, Prabhuji? He was with the Supreme Lord himself too. So I don't know the answer, but I have the answer from His Grace Radha Gopinath Prabhuji. So when a similar question was asked to him, so he said, the formula is called rugged. In Hindi, there is a word called rugged, like really, right? Rugged. So he said, what Ajamil did was, when will the transformation happen for us? And why for him it did not happen, okay? So the first R stands for, we have to have a deep regret. Ajamil actually had a deep regret when his situation, when he called for Narayana unknowingly, but when Yamadutas came and Vishnudutas came and they were having their talk, there was a deep regret for all that he did wrong. So there was a deep regret, the first point. And the next A stands for deep appreciation for the intervention of the Vishnudutas. That these are like really deep, like he really meant his appreciation was extraordinary, like because it is on the deathbed actually. He's seeing really firsthand the movie right in front of his eyes, both the Vishnudutas and the Yamadutas. So there was deep appreciation. And because of this deep appreciation, there was tremendous gratitude he had. So from regret, appreciation of the intervention that he got, because of the appreciation, he had this great gratitude towards the Vishnudutas. And again, after gratitude, what he did, the next A, Ragad, R-A-G-A-D. So next A is for austerities. He performed severe austerities after the transformation actually happened. And the last, without wasting any time. So it says that from now on, like he did not waste any time and any opportunity for doing devotional service when the transformation actually happened. And when he properly prioritized his life with determination, the last D is for determination. So there is a process to follow. So the being like, I could be among all the doctors, but if I don't have the proclivity to learn from them, then I'm not going to learn. So that free will is each of us have it. So Krishna has given that free will to make the choice if we want to be in satsang or if we don't want to be in satsang. And what's the purpose of being in satsang? In other way, if we see Krishna in the form of time, like they all were actually delivered in one sense. If they like it or not, whoever passed in front of Krishna, they all were liberated. But what kind of liberation do we want? Mother Yashoda was chasing Krishna with a stick. This was an example given by His Grace Gaurang Darshan Prabhu in recent classes that I heard. So he said Mother Yashoda was chasing with the stick, and Chanura and Mushtika were also giving a good fight to Krishna. And actually Krishna enjoyed fighting with Chanura and Mushtika, but he did not enjoy running away from Mother Yashoda. In a sense, he was crying, literally, if you see. So if we see the externals, it looks like Mother Yashoda was giving trouble to Krishna. He's in fear and full of tears, he's running and she's chasing with a stick. But the other place, Chanura and Mushtika, when they were fighting, Krishna was actually enjoying the fight. So it looks apparently like they were doing a service and Mother Yashoda was not doing a service to Krishna. But the bhav is what matters. So Krishna got sold out to Mother Yashoda because of her love. But there he enjoyed the rasa, so he reciprocated by giving them liberation. That's all happened. So many stages of liberation that people discuss. So they do get the benefit, but not in the, it should be anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. So that is our, acharyas are teaching us that our devotional service should be performed favorably for attaining. Yes, Prabhu. If I said something wrong, please forgive me. That's all I have heard. Anybody can share more. And yes, constantly. Yes, Francis.
That is a beautiful point. He was constantly interlinked. Yes, and we could see that at a point when Duryodhana says, I understand Krishna is the highest, but I'm not going to surrender. I'm not going to follow you. So this access is there, but we didn't play it.
So in this regard, His Holiness Giriraj Swami gives an example. One devotee in when Srila Prabhupada was, this was his last days in Juhu temple. So when he was sitting there and this devotee said, oh Prabhupada, please give me your mercy. Please give me your mercy. I am so fallen. Please give me your mercy so I can understand your instructions. He was saying this to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada very gravely looked at him and he said, My mercy is available. And he said, he now gave an analogy to that person, saying that it's like you are in a deep well and you are calling out for help, and I am dropping you the rope. And now you're saying, please give me your mercy, please give me your mercy, and make my fingers curl around that rope. That is what you're asking. So he said, mercy is available, but you have to have your endeavor too. Like if your eagerness to come out of that well is strong, you will just grab it with full force, but you wouldn't ask that, give me your mercy so that I can understand your instructions. Like Prabhupada exchanged this to that devotee. Yeah.
Further it goes, the devotee is very clear to Balaram. He was the favorite to Balaram quote is that, but still the transformation didn't happen. That was very unique.
I pray that some transformation happens in my heart. With all your association. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yes,